Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first day of the final round of the Magnus Carlsen Invitational, part of the Champions Chess Tour. Magnus Carlsen and Wesley So are battling for that third place spot and fourth place spot, I suppose, if you lose. And Anish, Giri, and Jan Nepomniachtchi are in the finals. The games ended about 4 hours ago, but I'm not gonna lie, I just got home and I was out, took a little bit of a day off. Hope you can forgive me. Let's make this recap nice and energetic. We got plenty of that. So much of it that I just spit a little bit on my microphone. Anyway, let's just get into the games. Magnus Carlsen and Wesley So will begin with them because they're actually playing for, the third place spot. So then we will go to the finals. First game, Magnus starts with e4, e5, standard, two super grandmasters, knight f3, knight okay, the four knights, how boring. And now Magnus develops very naturally here with the move. He played a4. I'm supposed to say something about this move. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Bishop b4, bishop d3. Defending the pawn, but what about... there's kids watching this, and I'm not even going to lie to you. The way I would describe the move a4 is that this position is so boring that playing this move is just to throw your opponent off and hope that they do something crazy. So after both sides castle, now Magnus kind of shows the whole point of his setup. It's knight d5. And the idea here is that a4 is actually really useful. You say, Gotham, how can this dude play a4? Like, why didn't Wesley go a5? I don't know. Maybe he will. Maybe that's going to be the meta from here on out. The whole point of this is that actually this pawn will help these pawns advance. And this bishop, since it didn't take the knight, is just kind of standing still, right? So bishop c5, and now this, and now we kind of see that. So Wesley plays a5. He does have to play a5 to stop b4. Now we get bishop back to c2 because you want to play d4, then you want to move your bishop. Now after knight takes d5, e takes d5, the knight has to move. And this bishop has opened up to h7. Now, look, some of you might know what the Greek gift sacrifice is, but in this case, it does not work. The Greek gift is when you give away the bishop on h7, you play knight g5, and you play queen h5, and you go, it's mate! I'm so smart. Except it's not mate at all. Black just plays bishop f5 and laughs at you, and you will never mate them, and then they will just kick your queen out and your knight out, and you're going to lose. So just remember that just because you're holding a hammer doesn't mean that everything is a nail. So bishop takes h7 is not going to work, but knight g5 is a nice move. He wants to go attack h6. Now Magnus says, what's worth as much as a knight? All of Gotham Chess subscribers on YouTube, they're worth as much. d4. Bishop goes back to b6. And now knight to h7. Rook e8. So now what? Oh, I know. Magnus accidentally hangs the knight. That's what happened. Magnus just forgot that the pawn could take it. No, I'm just kidding. Magnus sacrifices a knight to play queen h5. So right now, the world champion is just straight up down a piece. But he knows the Gotham Chess principle of attacking chess, which is the fact that you need two more attacking pieces than there are defenders. And in this case, there are three attacking pieces, and maybe you can argue that this horse is guarding something, but no one's guarding these things, right? Literally. I mean, just the king or nobody. So Wesley plays e4, and the reason he does that is because he wants Magnus to take, because then maybe he's gonna, hit the bishop, and the bishop is gonna have to get out of the way. So Magnus stays patient. Magnus says, all right, I'm gonna bring my rook. Wesley plays f5. Now Magnus decides to take. Now, he's not even threatening this because knight g6. He's maybe little slow play, little rook e3 action. Wesley plays knight takes d5. Magnus plays bishop g5, like I just said, f6, and then we get bishop b3. He hunts him down with the other bishop, which originally was negated. The bishop jumps out this way at c6, and now we get rook e3, which was always the plan. King f8 brings in the queen. This bishop is just hanging, by the way. This bishop just he's not taking it because he doesn't want to open up his king anymore. Now we get f4 and check, and Wesley So resigned because the only legal move is this, and then it's mate. Wesley So just got beaten in 23 moves, and the fourth move of the game was a4. And this is why Magnus Carlsen is Magnus Carlsen, all right? And you are you, and I am me, and that lamp is that lamp. I don't know the point that I'm trying to make. I'm simply identifying objects and people for whom they are. I don't understand what A4 is, and I don't know how he makes it look so easy, but he makes it look so damn easy, and that's that. Now, the next two games were draws, okay? So, at this point, it's 2-1. Now, this is the final rapid game. Wesley So has to win this game. He's playing with the white pieces. And Wesley plays E4, and Magnus plays E5. Okay, fantastic, great. Knight F3, Knight C6. And now here, Wesley says, you know what, I'm not even going to wait to move my knight. I'm just going to play A4. No, that's not what happened. Bishop C4, Bishop C5. And we get something called the Gioco Pianissimo. Gioco Piano is when you go here, or as Hikaru likes to call it, the Gucci Piano. I'm personally a Versace fan, but, you know, each their own. D3, D6, Knight D2, all natural moves, as opposed to GMO moves. Knight G5, trying to go for the bishop on E6. Magnus says, all right, you can't have it. I'm going to put it back to where it was. Wesley says, all right, I'm going to take in the center. Now I'm going to castle. Magnus says, bring it back. That bishop went there and back. Look, I don't know how they get away with this, and then whenever you and I move a piece back and forward, like we're down 3 rooks and 7, goats and a bishop, it's like Knight E4. We get bishop back to E7. He brings the other bishop back. He doesn't want to give away the bishops. Queen F3, natural. Queen D7, B4. Now B4 is a weird move because it destabilizes the queen side. This move B4. Like maybe we're gonna get A4 here. Magnus plays his move Knight D5. And all of a sudden, it's like, wait a second, this bishop's lining up this. This is lining up this, and this is lining up this. So there's some tactics in the position. And there's one more tactic in this position after D4. Magnus Carlsen plays an absolutely beautiful move, and it shows you the class at which he's at. He plays this move, and all of a sudden it becomes clear that White's position is terrible. And the move on its own doesn't even, it doesn't pack a punch. You have to uncover it. Bishop G6. What does a retreating bishop move do to the position? The F-pawn. And when this F-pawn moves, you're going to realize these knights are so poorly, all these pieces are so poorly coordinated. I almost said poorly coordinated. Welcome to Gotham Chess Recaps. D takes E5, Knight E5. Now the queen is hit. So black's pieces are getting activated. Now Knight C4. So he activates the knight to C4. Then he plays Queen C6. Say, Gotham, when is the F-pawn going to move? Well, it's no longer going to move. The mere threat of the pawn moving made Wesley make certain decisions he wouldn't have made otherwise. Does that make sense? So now that Magnus made Wesley commit and kind of tangle up his position even worse, he doesn't even need to move the F-pawn. Now Magnus turns his attention to just wrecking the queen side. Look, knight takes B4. You say, wait a second, Levy. I don't understand. That's just hanging. No, because you'll just take the rook. Okay, well, all right. Well, if you're so smart, rook takes D8. Yeah, knight takes bishop. And this is hanging because bishop and knight hit it, and the rook is hanging. You say, all right, take. I'm so smart. I'm going to move my rook out of the way. Yeah, but bishop E4. And in this position, if you just take stock of the position, black's got 2 knights and 1 pawn for the rook. That's 7. Wesley's got 5. So he's only down 2 points of material. But he resigned. And the match is over. Not like overall, but Magnus takes a 1-0 lead. Yep. Oops. Dash. Magnus Carlsen takes a 1-0 lead. You say, Levy, that was so anticlimactic. I know. He just melted him. I'm not really, I just like last game, I don't know how he makes it look so easy. You say, well, Levy, why is this losing? I just take this pawn. Yeah, and then you hang. Queens go backwards. Relax. So, the rook cannot move anywhere besides rook b3. I mean, Wesley So has a bishop that he didn't move in 25 moves. Right? That bishop never moved. Like, the man is given a bishop by the chess gods. He just never moved the bishop. And the next move for black is like something like, for example, let's just say white plays a4. Black is going to do this. Black's going to play knight d4. That attacks the rook, and it attacks this. If you take it, now you are just down a full knight. And if you try to play this, I'll play something like bishop a3. You take the knight, I take this check. And look, Wesley So is a damn good chess player. He's not going to survive against Magnus down a bishop and a pawn in an endgame. He also probably will not survive against Magnus Carlsen bishop and pawn down in most games. But particularly when he's only got 5 pawns. It's not like, He's not going to pay this pawn to not capture him, and then, game's over. Match is over. Magnus Carlsen makes it look super easy. Wins a couple of games in 25, 23 moves, and wins the first mini match. And tomorrow we'll see if he can win again. Now, we move on to our final match between Jan Nepomniachtchi and Anish Giri. Every single game of this match was a Sicilian defense. The two of them going back and forth, haymakers. This is the first game of the day. We get e4, c5, and Jan plays again e6. So he's going back into the Taiman of Sicilian with knight c6, queen c7, something he played against Hikaru. Something that I don't believe he plays that often, but all these guys are exceptional chess talents. They know all the openings. I mean, so do I, but I know that they exist, whereas they actually know how to play them. It's, it's very different. Like, I can tell you the first few moves, and then they can tell you, there's like, 20 moves of theory, and then like 70 games that I have in my mental database. And yeah, so it's very different. I can, make the YouTube video for it, where I give you like 8 minutes of the theory, and they can give a whole college class on it. So here we get c3. Anish Giri goes for the Alpine Sicilian, clearly having watched the Gotham Chess video earlier that day. And then he plays takes, and he plays this knight a3 idea, also covered in the Gotham Chess Alpine Sicilian video, which you should watch right after this. Knight a3, very tricky stuff here to try to get to c7, but Jan, he came prepared. He had also seen the video. I gotta stop making that joke, because some of y'all definitely, definitely think that these guys watch my videos. I'm gonna be dead honest. They probably don't even know I exist. So, takes. Now, White is always supposed to be a touch better in these positions because of the 3-on-2. White's got a little bit more space, a little bit more development, and as the game goes on, Anish actually decides to just go long. So Anish chose violence. First game of the day, he's like, listen, I gotta make a statement, I gotta make an impression. Queen a5, let's go fight. b5. He's not backing down, Jan. This is like, Jan, when he sees that his opponent goes long, he goes the opposite way, Jan's like, oh yeah, barbecue chicken, Like, let's go. Let's have a fight. I don't want that same side, sober chess. I'm not about that. Bishop e4, rook b8, knight e5. Now, listen, if I'm Anish, I'm going to go g4, h4, but I'm not Anish, and he's a better player, so I'm just, that's what I would do, and he doesn't do it, so he takes, and plays rook d3. He's got a bit more of a slow plan, but Jan's ready for this. Rather than attacking him with his pawns, Anish attacks him with his pieces, and Jan plays b4. Jan actually does attack with the pawn. That's the difference. That's called a pawn storm, whereas the other one is kind of maneuvering your pieces and going for the attack. But here, Anish detonates a bomb. Knight takes f7. Look at that. Whoa. That's why you always got to look for the pieces near your king, which are only guarded by your king or by nobody. Because after this move, b takes 3, you say, why didn't he just take back? He didn't take back because queen g6 and it's over. Queen g7, and I just bulldoze you. So he left that knight there, but knight takes h6 now comes with check. You can't take this because the rook is pinning the pawn to the king, which is kind of insane. Now we get this one. By the way, I don't even think knight h6. I don't remember. I scanned this briefly, but I think like even taking on c3 or something was like good for white because you hit the rook and then your knight has a move to get out. I don't know. But he takes, and then he takes. Takes. Queen's hanging. Knight's hanging. Queen moves. And now he plays bishop f6. Bishop f6. And Anish plays the move queen c8 check. Bishop goes back to block. And then knight escape. So white is up 2 pawns. But it's kind of a chaotic position. Like black is a few moves away from... Why did I highlight an empty square? Black's a few moves away from doing something. This is always guarded. You can't really move your rook here, because you would hang it, and giving up a rook for free is bad. I'm glad I can teach y'all things. Rook c7, queen b8, king f7, and now queen to d3. Jan plays queen d6, so very sneaky. That's why you always have to look for checks. Rook c1, you would lose your queen. And Anish Giri, smart man, doesn't blunder that. Bishop f6, rook b1. Very passive, though. And rook b1 comes with a price. Well, it could have come with a price. Queen takes h2. This could have happened. And it was just I think he just gave it away, and his logic was that, well, I don't know. I'd have to ask Anish. I guess he just figured that he was going to get counterplay if this happened. Instead, we got a5, Queen goes back to d7 and king a2, rook b7. Still some shuffling. And finally, it looks like Anish has consolidated the position. I mean, it looks good. He's up 2 pawns. That's what he needs. A queen trade here would be great for white. When you're under attack, try to trade pieces, especially the most powerful attacking piece. f3, king h8, h3. I mean, everything is solid. Position looks great. Problem is, how do you make progress? Well, a rook trade can't hurt. No queen trade, though. By Jan, no queen trade. Knight g4, bishop d4. He's hanging around. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That looks kind of scary. Uh-oh. You say, what happened? It's tough. I mean, you have to go queen d2 and try to block the infiltration. Very tough position. f4, queen e1. Down 3 pawns, but queen c3. And we have an uh-oh moment because check and bishop d4. These 2 threats together now force Anish Giri to repeat moves in a very peculiar repetition. And the thing is, this is a very important skill that the grandmasters have. The skill of playing the best move in the position rather than playing what you think about the position. Now, y'all gonna think I'm being sarcastic, but it's true because in games, we're winning, but then we make mistakes. Now the game's not winning anymore, and you still trying to win it. Chessboard doesn't care how you feel about the position. The best move is the best move. So Anish Giri is able to absorb the fact that, you know, even though he was up, and he's up currently some material, he's no longer winning. And he needs to play the best move, and the best thing that he can do is make a draw. Because, for example, if he goes knight e5, looking for some mate, like, black is going to have queen d2, and black is going to have no way to win, but at least create, like, the threat of a mate, you know, somehow. And there's going to be games your opponent can do something like this and mate you, or literally mate you by force. In this case, you know, white is fast enough with the knight and the queen, and black will be the one making the draw. But Anish Giri decides to do it himself because it was going to happen no matter what. Very important skill to have. Play the best move on the board and don't fall into that trap of being a little bit too emotional with it. Now, these 2 gentlemen drew their next 2 games as well, so it's 1.5, 1.5. So we go to the last rapid game. Jan's got white, Anish got black. Winner takes the mini match today. We get e4, we get another Sicilian. This time Anish is black, so he plays d6, not e6. Another open Sicilian, another Najdorf. Bishop to g5, e6, f4, queen b6. Black attacks the pawn on b2, and Jan just crazy. Totally out of character, just blunders. I'm joking. This is a main line position. Queen takes b2, rook b1. This is known as the poisoned pawn Najdorf. It's known as the poisoned pawn Najdorf because for the cost of a pawn, black is going to have to deal with body aches, tension, lower back pain, potential migraines. It's going to be bad. Stress, anxiety, heart palpitations, and so on. There's a lot of insane theory in these lines for both players. There's a lot of theory even now. I mean, different branches and thousands of games. f5, so that's one of the branches. I mean, white can play other things. f5. Now, after f takes e6 in this position, 99.9999% of games go pawn takes e6. Anish Giri plays a move that, according to my database, has been played like 10 times. And by no one serious. I mean, like, none of these grandmasters. So I don't have the Anish Giri course that he has on the Najdorf. Anish, I'm sorry if you ever watch this. No one snitch. Nobody snitch. I don't have it. I don't have any interest in playing the Najdorf, even if Anish Giri made the course. So if it's in that course, then, well, Anish, credit to you. But this sets off a massive explosion of tactics. First of all, rook takes pawn on b7. Knight takes knight in the center. Queen takes knight and bishop e7. Bishop goes to c4, hitting the other bishop. Black plays rook c8, which is a weird move. Like, yo, go ahead and take me. White says no. Knight d5. Then black plays this. White takes back. Black takes. Now white can take the bishop, the pawn, or the knight 2 different ways. Not rook takes bishop because the knight takes. White decides to take like this. Now here, that is not a bishop you can take because check here. Mate. Please don't get mated. Queen c3 check. King e2. Queen takes c2 check. It's a hunt for who's going to get mated first. Bishop goes back to d2. Now if black castles, black hangs the bishop. So rook c5. Now what's worth as much as a queen, apparently, Not apparently. Now we get queen sacrifices itself for the rook, and we get bishop takes, takes, takes. Now black plays the move h5, because again, if you castle, I just take your bishop. And we get g3, h4, because you want me to take you, so you can activate your rook, so I don't take you. Then you sacrifice a pawn, because you want me to take you. And I say, no, and you take me, and then I take back. And how the hell are we in a rook and bishop endgame? Oh yeah, that's the Najdorf. This is what happens when you leave two 2700s that are eating sand on the playground to play chess. You know, they trade all the pieces, move 27. This is some sort of deep engine preparation. They consolidate the board. At no point throughout this game did the evaluation go from 0.00 to any side. It's 0.00 because this position apparently has been solved according to chess theory. Like, they played all the best moves and traded all the pieces and made a draw with king versus king. And you would say, Gotham, why did you put this game in if it ended king versus king? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. The longer the video is and the more ads you put into it, the faster YouTube pushes it out into the algorithm. Yeah, I just admitted that. Also, I felt a little bit disrespectful only putting one game because I feel like these guys made the finals, but I'm not going to lie to you, okay? A lot of what they played today was theory. The second game between Anish and Jan was like 40 moves of Najdorf theory, and then they just made a draw. So I mean, look, it was day one, you know, and that was that. So they tied. Tomorrow, someone's got to lose or win. And before you go, just as a reward for sticking around this long in the video, I am going to reward you with an Anish Giri quote from Twitter. This is what Anish said about Jan Nepomniachtchi. He said, he's faster, more dangerous, sharper than Magnus, more tactically alert. There's much more aggression coming from him. If you look only at his pluses, you think he's the best player in the world. Wow. Which obviously goes to say that he has certain weaknesses of his game, which is insane because he's top 5 in the world. That's kind of a nice compliment of Jan Nepomniachtchi. We all know him as this mad genius, plays a lot of aggressive stuff, crazy stuff, has beaten Hikaru and Magnus in this event, and tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, we will reconvene for the final day, and hopefully Wesley can come back just to make it a bit more exciting, or maybe we'll see Magnus melt through that matchup like butter, and we'll see. Anish Giri and Jan Nepomniachtchi. Tomorrow we will crown a winner.